Hey, welcome back to Cole's Farm, everybody. It's March 30th, just about 1 p.m. 77 degrees, feels like 75 degrees, and the humidity is 42%. It feels fantastic out here. The WeatherBug app has the pollen rated as a 10.6, which was kind of a surprise to me because I thought it maxed out at 10, so I'm not too sure how high it goes. Either way, the pollen is categorized as high. The main sources are oak, poplar, aspen, cottonwood, and maple. Let's see, the last inspection out here was March 14th, which was 16 days ago. And then today I'll be checking for swarm cells and just doing a full inspection just to see how the queen continues to expand the colony. And last time I reversed the brood boxes, which is another swarm prevention technique. So the idea is once they built up, you reverse the boxes and now it gives them more space, or maybe mainly the queen more space to lay eggs. Alright, so that's that. I'm gonna turn the camera off real quick, get the camera situated facing down onto hive number 1 so you can watch what I'm doing. Alright, welcome back everybody. Let's get into hive number 1 for a routine full inspection. I'm going to take the top box completely off, set it over here. It's got some weight to it on the outer cover, and put the inner cover back on. And I actually have an extra outer cover, telescoping outer cover over here that I'm going to grab. Yeah, so that was something I didn't have the pleasure my first year, is having extra equipment. I've definitely come to notice that as a beekeeper you need extra equipment to make things kind of easy. So I was doing some reading this last weekend, and a pretty cool tip that I came across when you're checking for the queen, or maybe a better way to check for the queen, when you remove one frame and you have it in your hand, look at the next frame. So if the queen, the concept is, if the queen is on the frame that you have in your hand, she's not going anywhere. However, if she's not, and she happened to just be there and jump ship onto the next frame, since you have some space and you can see, you might be able to easily see her on that next frame. And you do that throughout the whole inspection. So whatever frame you remove, you're always looking at that next frame. That frame's falling apart, to see if you can find the queen. Yeah, so this box has some weight to it. I imagine, well, you know what? I mean, yeah, sure, they're building some comb there, but that ain't a whole lot. Let me focus this down some more. Hopefully that's, hopefully you can see the box. Yeah, these first two frames are just nothing. Alright, so we're on frame 3 already. And frame 3 seems to be falling apart a little bit. See if I can get this out. Hopefully. Alright, so remove that one. And then you're looking towards the next. I really need to be better at the at the camera placement with the veil. So yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Hopefully they don't create a honey-bound problem. So this frame is packed full of nectar or sugar water, You can see it. I mean, this is slap full. I wonder why they're doing that. So instead of using the sugar water to draw out the supers, which have, well, let me move the camera real quick, which are brand new and don't have any wax built on them. I wonder why they are choosing to fill any bit of brood rearing space with the sugar water instead of drawing out wax, producing wax in the honey supers. So we're on frame, what, 1, 2, that was 3, this is 4. Frame 5, just looking ahead, has some pretty nice brood, but 4, as you can see, 4 is a lot of nectar. So I believe they're using that sugar water because, I mean, you know, I don't dye it like some people do so they can tell where their sugar water goes. I don't add any food dye to it, but that wouldn't be a bad idea, I guess, so you can distinguish between the sugar water you're supplementing them and what they are naturally bringing in from nature. Oh wow. Alright, check this out. This is my first, great. This is my first capped queen cup. No kidding. So frame 5, that is my first mature queen cup. Now, this is where decision making comes in, you know, what to do with that. I mean, that is a mature queen cup right there. It is capped for sure. I have been in this hive, well, last time I inspected them was 16 days ago, so she might be coming out any time now. I might end up cutting it out and moving it and making a split using one of the boxes from hive number 2 here. Okay, so definitely gonna have to make a decision on that. So that's frame 5. And I don't want to jinx myself, but these bees are actually being very calm as well. So I wonder if they're in swarm mode. Check that out. That is so frame 6 on the bottom here. That is that was a pretty well developed queen cell. Well, I mean, just the wax part of it, there wasn't anything in there. Alright, so this, let's see, frame 7. So I'm thinking at the same time here, and what I'm thinking is, look, they're developing another queen cell there. I'm thinking I might just make, I believe, what they call a walkaway split, to where, since frame 5 has a capped queen cell that's probably pretty close to hatching out here, that queen cup, hopefully you can see that queen cup actually has royal jelly down in there. So there's either an egg down there that they're working on making into a queen as well, or they're planning on it. So considering how much food, capped brood, I want to find some eggs. If I can find some eggs, I'm gonna make this into a split. Oh yeah, I see another one, I think. I thought I did. Yeah, so check this out. That's 2, 3, 4, and look how solid that brood pattern is too. So let's see, 1, 2, 3 here, 3 queen cups here. Look how solid that brood pattern is as well. 3, so that's 4 queen cups here. I think this is a good candidate just to make a walkaway split with. Basically all that is, I'm gonna put a bottom board on it and basically make this top box into a full hive. And I have a bottom board out here. I have everything I need. So I'm just gonna put a bottom board, put this box on it, an inner cover and a telescoping outer cover, and just see what the bees do. Because that's 1, 2, that's 3 queen cups there. I mean, that's gonna be, this thing's gonna explode here in the next week with all those baby bees. I mean, that is absolutely beautiful. Another queen cup there, so that's 4 queen cups on this one frame plus that other one, so that's 5 queen cups. And this frame has some pollen, spotty brood on that side, some spun larvae. Alright, so, and it's got some drones too. It's got a decent amount of drones, which I would imagine whatever queen hatches first, once she gets done killing the other queen cells, some of those drones might leave with her to go on a mating flight. Alright, so this is a first for me. Well, one more frame. And they might be using some of the sugar water to draw out some of that. All right, so I'm gonna split this. I'm gonna make this into another hive, and honestly, I would be surprised if that hive doesn't do well. Like, I'd be surprised if they don't make it. They have 5, at least from what I remember, they have 5 queen cups. I think 5 capped queen cups that are probably gonna hatch here soon. So I'm gonna move this over on the other side, the other part of the other hive stand. Sorry. And when I get into the bottom box, I am definitely going to be checking for the queen just to make sure I didn't leave her over here. Or eggs. Find eggs, because I didn't see any eggs here, but there's a lot of capped brood. So let's get into the bottom box. I'm gonna move this box over on the other hive excuse me, to create a whole new hive. So I'm gonna make a split here. Let me box this up and finish doing what I'm talking about. So I either read or saw somebody had posted something like, basically the behavior of a hive changes, like noticeably changes, when they are in swarm mode, like when they are preparing to swarm. So I'm glad I came out here today, and the only reason I did was because tomorrow's weather's not going to be the best, and today's 16 days since the last inspection, and I didn't see any queen cups that last time. So it goes to show, this time of year you really have to get out in your hives every 2 weeks, preferably 16 days maybe at the most, in order to catch potential swarms like this one. Alright, so I'm just going to let the camera roll for a little bit off camera. I'm gonna get this one all set up to split, and then when I come back we'll get into the bottom box. Alright, that's that. So let me move the camera just a little bit, get you in a better angle, and we will get into the bottom box of Hive 1. So that's pretty cool. I would be thoroughly surprised if that hive, if the top box doesn't completely become its own hive with 5 capped queens. I would imagine they will be just fine. So let's see how this one looks. Hopefully I don't find any more queen cups, because at that point, I don't know, it gets a little tricky sometimes. And considering neither of the supers were looking all that great, I might don't know, I'm kind of torn what to do there. I might just dump both of the pails into a 5-gallon bucket that I've converted into an open feeder, and I might just open feed them over by the house. Alright, here we go. So definitely checking for the queen, looking for eggs. If I don't see the queen or eggs, this is where things get a little tricky, because I'll have to get back into the box that I just split to see if the queen's over there. Alright, frame number 2, I always just kind of look at it since I pull it out first. Frame 1, it's just some old comb that they really don't, well, they're using it for nectar, so I guess that's something. I'd say they don't use it for much, but I guess they are. Alright, these bees are starting to act, you know, how I know them, agitated, really. I can't wait to show you this. This is just a mess because, is this frame? I was thinking this frame was like concave or something. So frame 4 or frame 3, nothing really, right? Check out frame 4. Look at this mess. God, man. I mean, that's all drone brood. I'm not even sure what to make of it, because that looks good. I wonder why. It's really hard to say. I wonder why they're drawing that side of this frame out like they are. I mean, look at that. If you can see it. Let me see if I can hold it like that. I mean, it's just crazy looking to me. Alright, not to get sidetracked, but I'm definitely looking for eggs and the queen. That's frame 4. It is such a nice day to be out here inspecting these hives because the sun is just at the right angle to where I can easily see down in the cells. I don't see any eggs yet, some stored pollen and nectar around the outskirts of the capped brood. So eggs or the queen, that's what I'm looking for. What in the world is going on here? Dude, this is just strange, man. Frame number 7. It looks spotty, but all those holes have spun larvae in them. think this queen is the one that lays towards frame like 7 or 10 because the sun hits it first thing in the morning. This is frame 8. Pretty solid brood pattern. Some spun larvae. The uncapped cells next to some of the capped brood. It's hard to tell if there's any eggs. It's hard to see eggs because of the dark comb. A lot more drones than I'm used to, so a lot of them from last time it seems like they've hatched, which it kind of tricks your eye because they're a much larger bee, like right there in the bottom center, bottom third of the frame, moving upward. Much larger of a bee, so I mean your eye's naturally drawn to them, which makes it a little more difficult when you're looking for the queen. Alright, this is a little bit of a tricky situation here. I'm not really seeing too many eggs or any eggs. A lot of capped brood, but it's not what you're looking for because those eggs were laid like a week ago. I think they get capped around 9 days, something like that. I can't remember. This frame here has a lot of stored pollen. So it would be fantastic to see the queen or some eggs. Eggs would be just as great. Alright, I'm going to move back through the frames maybe kind of quickly just to see if I can find any eggs towards the center. And you're probably going to have a hard time hearing me because the bees are all over the camera. I'm going to smoke down here in a sec. Alright, so the whole time I was looking through there, I was also thinking in the back of my mind, if I don't find the queen, what are my other options? So, let's see. I mean, I haven't even gotten in hive number 2 here. That thing is a pretty deep brood chamber, so we'll see how that goes. But I might be bringing a lot of equipment out later on to make as many splits as possible and just do some checkerboarding. So basically you would take one box like this, put a box beside it, take 5 frames out of that and checkerboard each hive, and basically 2 splits, and the bees will figure it out. Alright, so enough of me, enough of me yapping here. I'm going to turn the camera off for a second. Actually, I'll just turn it around since hive number 2 is unstrapped and everything. So I'm going to slide the camera over. Is a 3 deep brood chamber. This should be, should be interesting. Might be making a split out of this too. Alright, let's see how this goes. Probably leave the camera just like that. That's probably okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna I was really surprised that they haven't drawn out the... I'm assuming use some of the sugar water to drain out some of these combs, or to build some comb on these frames, because just looking down in it real quick, here I'll show you since I don't see it, since I don't have the camera strapped down, but yeah, check that out. Some new wax there. Alright, from right to left, frame 1, not much going on, the usual. Same thing with frame 2. Frame 3, this is that weird frame that's been in the hot for quite a while, and they just not really doing much with it, but that. Alright, and we're getting into it, so frame 4 and 5. Good God, man. Like, when you have a strong queen, it is just something, it is just remarkable is what I'm trying to say. And look how strong this queen is. That is a full frame of brood right there. And on the side too. Might end up splitting this one as well. Alright, so that's frame 4. This is frame 5. Got a stinger just working its way through the glove. That's frame 5. Let's see. I'm telling you, that dark comb, you cannot see eggs in it at all. Frame 6, queen cup, nothing in it. It's really nice looking brood. It's pretty light color. Frame 7, they're just, you know, slowly working on it. Nothing on 8. Nine, I don't know. I can't remember if that's old wax or not. I think it is old. Not much on 9. And 10. 10's just some old wax that they really don't do much with. Okay. Sorry, you can't really see anything. Alright, so that's the top box of hive number 2, the 3 deep colony. I don't remember seeing any eggs. I definitely didn't see any eggs, because I would have remembered. Not too much going on there. Some really nice frames of brood. A few queen cups, like the start of a queen cup. Not much really going on with them. Some drone brood towards the top of some frames. So no developed and capped queen cells. Might not be the best candidate to split, so we'll just have to see how the rest of the hive's looking, and just figure out what's going on. All right. I'm just looking for the queen now because there's a lot of bees that are on the inside of the outer cover, just because that's where I rested the top box on. Don't see her, so that's good. Man, I'll tell you what, when you have a smoker that's lit well and burning smoothly, it's a nice thing. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Alright, it's kind of what I was expecting to see eventually. Some new comb being drawn out. And some old comb, which has some nectar down in it. It's kind of hard to see. This is frame 3, and it's got some weight to it up at the top there, especially this side. You can see they're packing away some nectar, and probably cap that into honey here in the next few days or week or so. Alright, so the queen is definitely in this, well, she has been. So last time it picked up on camera, but all these cells here, hopefully you can see that at the right angle. I'll move it around a little bit. Looks like a little grain of rice. Those are all eggs. So the queen is definitely, she's definitely been here lately. Same thing on this side. She's filled practically every cell with an egg. So there's some spun larvae here, eggs, and the eggs kind of slowly stop over here. Alright, so this is frame 5. Alright, same thing, we got a lot of spun larvae. You can see some eggs very easily. So I know the queen's still here. what would be great to know or do is actually find her so I know what box she's in, and then if I decide to split this hive, at least I know where the queen's at. Alright, so this is 6. Frame number 6. Frame 7, this is just a newer frame. You can tell by how light the wood is and how new the wax looks. So this is a newer frame that I put in there, and they're working it as they should. Same thing with the next frame. This is 8. Frame 8. Also a new frame, no eggs, just some nectar, and they're just drawing it out. Pollen on this side. So what I'm thinking, by finding eggs in or on frame 4 here, I'm hoping the queen just headed downward away from the light as I opened up the hive, and I'll find her in the bottom box. No queen cells though. Unlike hive number 1, no queen cells yet, so that tells me they have enough space to continue to expand the hive. Alright, that's 9. Sometimes I found the queen on frame number 10, so anybody feels the need to skip over it, I've done that in the past. Sometimes you'd be surprised. Oh, sure enough. Check it out. So she's right there. Speak of the devil. She's right there. Frame number 10. Just trying to evade me. She's a pretty one. Alright, so now that I know where she's at, let's put her back. And depending if I see any queen cells down here, I can make another split out of this box, since I know the queen is in this box here. So I'm just going to move over here and inspect this one. Just put the inner cover on this hive over here. And since swarm cells tend, hopefully the bees don't really attack the camera here, I got it rested on top of the other box. Since swarm cells tend to form on the bottom, I'm just going to pry this up off the bottom board and take a look. Oh, hard to say. It's not the easiest thing for me to spot, so I'm just going to go through it like usual. split out of this one here, since I know the queen's in there. Or you know what I'm gonna do right now? Alright. Bear with me. Alright, this is what I'm going to do. Since I know the queen's in this bottom box here, I'm going to make this into a split. Leave the amount of, just leave all the bees alone, and once the pheromone wears out, they should basically detect that the queen is not there and make a split themselves. So I'm going to leave this this hive in place. I'm just trying to think how to do this. So I'm going to need this bottom board. You know what? I just said I was going to leave this in place. So this is the chamber, this is the box. This is the box I know the queen is here. So now just taking a look in the outer cover just to make sure the queen didn't fall down in here. I always know myself well on the queen, but when I come across her, I mean, she sticks out quite easily. Alright, a little bit of a mess of a video in my opinion. Best today, but unexpected things going on. One, I've never come across that many queen cells in a hive before, so I'll already been looking for an hour, so I'm going to have to go back to the house and get, I'm going to have to go back to the house and get take off for a while. I figure after this, let's take a look in hive number 3, the one that's been down in a 5-frame nuke for the past maybe month or so. Yeah, maybe a month by now. Let's see how this goes. I've noticed more bees coming and going from this hive, so suspect that the queen's been doing her thing and producing a bunch of eggs that have gone all the way through and hatched. has a lot of food, pollen and nectar. And this frame would be an excellent one to lay some eggs in, but she has chosen not to do that. There's not one egg in there. Let's see, some cat food, obviously. Some eggs. Yeah, she's still doing her thing. There's some eggs on the outskirts over here. Let's see if we can find her now. I mean, there's only 5 frames, so I would imagine it would be a little easier, but I guess you'd be surprised. And there's some eggs around here too. So she's doing all right. Yeah, this looks a lot more promising. Yeah, this is pretty nice. Yeah, I'm going to put another box on top with 4 brand new frames that they're going to have to draw out. There's a brand new bee right there. Tell by the dusty lack of color. Yeah, I'm going to put another box on top, 4 brand new frames with a division board, 1 gallon feeder. I have 3 quarts of 1-to-1 syrup made up in the house. Hopefully they use that. Hopefully they use that to produce some new wax so the queen can keep, well, she can expand her brood rearing. Yeah, these queens are pretty elusive. It's funny, in hive number 1, the bottom box, I made the comment before I found her that, you know, you should check your 10th frame, because they'll typically run away from the light. And sure enough, sometimes in the past, because the outer frames don't have anything really going on with them, food or, you know, much of anything really, sometimes I skip over them. But then I kind of learned my lesson that it's worthwhile to check them, because the queen will hang out there. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this one alone. I'm just gonna add the box to it. Alright, I have a little bit of work ahead of me. So, this is hard. The queen is definitely in hive number 2 here. So the queen's in this one. I'm sure about that one. The bottom box of hive 1. The top box of hive 2. I made a walkaway split, but that was based on finding 5 capped queen cells that are probably going to hatch or emerge here in the next few days. But I really need to open up that hive again and go through it and make sure the queen's not in there. So I'm going to do that off camera just because this video is getting kind of long. I'm going to have to go back to the house at some point and grab a bottom board. Yeah, I'm just going to grab one bottom board, inner cover, telescoping cover, and make a split out of the top 2 boxes that were on top of hive number 1. I'm sorry, number 2. Yeah, I'm setting on it right now. So went from 2 hives and a nuke to 1, 2, 3, 4 hives and a nuke. So just like that, as long as, you know, the queens emerge, mate it, return, obviously, start laying eggs, You can basically double your hive count just like that. So definitely pays dividends to have extra equipment. All right, I'm going to turn the camera off, do a few things. I'll resume here in a little bit once I get situated and show everybody the final outcome. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. A little long-winded. I'm not sure if I'm going to edit this video down to fast forward in between the boring parts just because there's so much stuff going on. I might just post this video as is, and if anybody decides to watch the whole thing, I really appreciate it. Hopefully you can get something out of it. If you have any tips for me, if you see me do anything weird like usual, just leave a comment. I read them all and I try to reply to them in a pretty quick turnaround time. So thanks again. Cole's Farm, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Late March, pretty much early April. Oh yeah, we're 10 days into spring too, so things are going to be picking up here real quick. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Alright, welcome back to the chaos. So I'm going to just walk everybody through what is currently going on. So after inspecting hive number 1, the top box had 5 capped queen cells that are probably going to hatch here in the next few days. So now the top box has become 4, has become hive number 5 down towards the end. Hive number 2, this was, I believe, the middle box. Yes, this was the middle box. I'd have to look at the video. I think so. The middle box of hive number 2, I found the queen on frame 10, and this box had a lot of eggs in the middle. I believe frames 4, 5, and 6 possibly. So I know there's a queen in here. Hive number 3, as the camera spins itself around, hive number 3 is the nuke. That's going to continue to be the nuke. Like I said before I turned the camera off for a little bit, I'm going to add another 5-frame nuke box to this with 4 brand new frames and a new foundation with a 1-gallon division board feeder with 3 quarts of 1-to-1 syrup so they can draw out the new foundation so the queen can continue to, expand the hive. Okay, so now we're over at hive number 4. This is new. So hive number 4 is the 2 boxes that came off of hive number 2. I know for a fact this is a queenless colony. So in the next few days, once the queen's pheromone dissipates, the bees will recognize that and start producing some queen cells, and hopefully that queen, one of the queens emerge, mate, come back, and, well, don't let this colony die off. And hive number 5 here, this was the top box of hive number 1. So hive number 1 and 5, one in the same right now. I don't know where the queen is. I couldn't find the queen. So I'm going to get back into this box and look through it to potentially, hopefully find the queen so I can know where she's at. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So out of the 5 colonies out here now, I only know where 2 queens are, and that is hive number 2 and the nuke, which is hive number 3. I know for a fact this doesn't have a queen, so I'm really trying to figure out where hive number 1's queen is, whether she is in hive 1 or hive 5. And depending where she's at, if I find her here, I'm going to try to transport her down to hive number 1, because hive 5 has 5 capped queen cells, where I'm comfortable letting that go, they emerge, and basically reestablish the colony. So I'm going to set the camera down here, a new position, a whole bunch of new positions today. Disregard that comment, that's kind of strange. And get it situated, downward, yep, alright, we're good. Alright, so let's get in here and see if we can find the queen. That would be excellent. Alright, trying to keep a keen eye. And I'm not going to spend too much time. Well, what I mean by that is I'm not going to spend forever out here trying to find the queen. If I don't find her in here, considering this is the box that has the 5 capped queen cells, I'm comfortable with just letting it go, assuming she is down in the first colony, which is what I'm going to call hive number 1. I really doubt she would be on this frame just because that's pretty heavy with stored sugar water or nectar. They're using it as a food store. Alright, so this is what, 4? Just a lot of nectar as well. But yeah, hive number 2's queen, I mean, stood out on frame 10. So I said it earlier, but I always doubt myself when it comes to finding the queen. But I mean, when you see her, it seems very obvious, but sometimes it's really just not that obvious. All right, 1, 2, is this 5? All right, frame 5. I'm switching gears here to do a more, assessment of whether or not this hive will most likely make it if it doesn't have a queen. So it has a lot of spun larvae, a whole bunch of capped brood, drones. You saw the mature capped queen cup on the other side there. So I just need to slow down, take my time, and really look for the queen. I mean, she's usually plowing her way through the bees, which really stands out more than you think sometimes. Alright, so that's frame 5. She's not on there. So it's really odd. So this is the first time I've had a hive produce so many queen cups, queen cells, mature queen cells as well, to where I either read it or watched it somewhere, but somebody said, like, you can tell when a hive's demeanor has changed. There's another queen cell there. I didn't even see that one earlier. So now we're at 2, and I believe the next frame has about 4 on the bottom. So this colony might have 6 queen cells. So I'm really confident that once the queens emerge, this colony will rebound within about a month. The queens will hang out for a few days. They'll go out for their mating flight. By the time they start laying those eggs, it's another, you're looking at about a 3 to 4 week turnaround before you start seeing signs of a new queen. Alright, so that's 5. Frame 5. 2 queen cups. Or it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so 2, then we got 3 there on the bottom, 4 being made. So I say 2 already, so that's like what, 3, 4, that's 5 on this. This might bring the queen cells up to 5, I believe. And I mean, this queen in here is strong, man. Hopefully she's in the other box if I can't find her. There's another queen cell there. It's a super procedural cell though. Alright, I really hope people watch this video and make it this far into it and comment, because I got swarm cells, I got super procedural cells, so I'm not really sure what's going on here. I didn't think you would have both, but apparently that's it's a possibility. Yeah, if I don't see her in here, I'm gonna have to go back to gonna have to go back to hive 1 just to double check. Make sure she's in there. Bees just love these gloves for some reason. The stingers still get you. Alright, well, it's complicated, that's for sure. So I don't see her in here, and this hive has about 6, if I'm right. This hive has about 6 swarm cells, maybe 4 or 5 swarm cells, and 1 or 2 supersedral cells. So, yeah, that's that. Alright, I'm going to go down to hive number 1 again, just to be thorough, and see if I can find the queen in there. Alright, off to hive number 1. Yeah, not having the camera fixed to the hive stand is kind of nice. That's how I used to do it, so I can move it around easy. So, trying something different, I just pulled out frame number 5 right in the middle. If she's on this, that'd be a pretty nice, be a pretty neat trick, honestly. I've done it like one other time. Just pulled out the middle frame, and she was on there. Well, and then they're starting to get agitated. I like to go through, but at the point where we're just going to have to call it, you know. If I can't find her going through here, a bit of a mystery. Where she's at. Just going to go through this frame by frame, looking for the queen exclusively, not assuming she's going to be in her typical spot. So basically just check everywhere. This is just a weird frame. If anybody can explain what they think's going on here, I mean, I'd appreciate it, because I mean, this is just very odd to me. So that's that. Alright, looking for the almost thought that was her. It was a drone. So there's a lot of eggs. There's eggs and spun larvae on this side. So I'm thinking I think I'm getting close. Is what I'm saying. So maybe she favors the left side. It's becoming quite the chore, to be honest with you. Really don't want to put it back without finding her, but this is not looking promising. Alright, well, that's a tough one, I guess. Bees just love the camera and the external battery cover. And it's black, so I don't know, maybe that means something. Alright, well, a little more tired than my back definitely hurts, so what used to be hive number 1, well, I guess it's part 1. Hive 1 is now 1 and 5. I am unsure if the queen is in number 1 or down in number 5, but what I do know for a fact is that number 5 has about 5 or 6 swarm and supersedral cells. I know for a fact the queen is in hive number 2, there's a queen in hive 3, I know for a fact that there is no queen in hive number 4 because those were the top 2 boxes, or maybe the top box and the bottom, yeah, top and bottom box. That used to be the triple deep, which was hive 2. So hive number 4 is formally hive 2, box 1 and 3. And then hive 5 is the top box that was hive number 1. Hopefully that makes sense. A little confusing to myself as well. Again, we're 10 days into spring. The next 10-day forecast is highs in the mid-70s just like now, some lows in the 40s, which I don't think the bees will start to cluster until below 50 or 55 degrees or so they might cluster a little bit, but I think it'll be a pretty short time frame. Kind of torn what to do with the supers. Well, you know what? I think I'm gonna add some supers. Yeah, there's a Canadian beekeeper that runs single deep. He runs single deep brood chambers, and this is a good opportunity to do that. So I'm gonna add a super to hive 1 and 2. Go back to the house, grab a bottom board, inner cover, a telescoping cover for hive 4, split that, and add supers to that as well, and then add a super down to hive 5. And just see how things go. Beekeeping, it's 100% experimental for the most part. I'm sure there's folks out there that'll disagree with that, but you know, everybody has their own opinion, and that's pretty much that. Alright, so a little long-winded today. Mainly due to a lot of uncertainty right now. Don't feel comfortable with a few things. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, soon to be 6 hives, and I know where 2 queens are at. So we'll see how it goes. No big deal. Bees are going to do their own thing anyway, so if I split them artificially by making a walkway split or putting knowing where the queens are at, don't think it really matters because, like I said, the bees are going to do whatever they need to do to build the strongest colony possible. So whether you influence it or take care of it. Alright, so that's that. I'll probably just turn the camera back on later after I go back to the house and grab more equipment. Feeling a little unprepared this time around, but that's just how things go. Alright, so see you in a little bit.